Yo, what's going on, guys? Spessy here, hood up, feeling like a bit of a bad man in the building. I was going to take my hood down, but I was chilling out there, so I'm pretty comfortable, so I hope you don't mind. Allgod today, played it a few days ago, changed the list slightly for the ultimate, and I mean the ultimate carryover deck, because if you name a carryover card, alright, I've got it. Fortunately, carryover's not a keyword. The only carryover card I can think of that we're not using is, like, Resilience Gabor. And this little sheepdog thing. What is it? It's a horse, a dog, a cat, and I think that's a goose on top. I'm joking. Anyway, I really love Allgod. I think it's really fun, and I think it's a very viable way of playing Shiru. Obviously, I posted a deck a few days ago. I've actually cut Gord from this deck, and just to throw it out there, Tailbot did something similar today. So I made this last night, and Tailbot sort of, when he was playing a similar list, came to the same conclusion, actually, of Gord maybe not being that good, because you want to end up running quite a lot of units. And what I decided to do, by cutting Gord, what advantage do you get? Because I was sort of like, I think this was what the list looked like before, something like this. And I was like looking at like a 16, 17 unit card deck with Gord, because it looked like this. And I didn't really want to use this card anyway. Instead of using Gord, because we're already going to go super tall with like a Sheldon or something, you can go double Hawker Smuggler, which like is kind of outrageously good. You're already playing for carryover, so why not just throw some more in? And this card's brilliant because you can use miners now to buff it up. So miners become really good because they've got a purpose. Like if this miner is not removed, you can buff your smugglers up to 6. Also, of course, like these hand buff cards play off each other. So like a Circle of Life on a smuggler, or like a Dunker buff on a smuggler, or whatever, right? Helps you out tremendously. All God's going to pay for that insane carryover, targeting your 2 Sentinels. For starters, but also with your you can target your Skags if he's in the deck. That's going to be 4 carryover. You can also do some cool things like buffing your Shura with your Allgod. So this card is just super greed. Absolutely love it. I know Chezzy has been playing a similar deck without the Allgod with the smugglers. I'm just such a big fan of this card. Like the carryover it gets you is just really useful because it's carryover that comes in late on in the round. A lot of the time with these Shiru decks, like your board is getting wiped and damaged and you want to stay not playing that many units like against Skellige. But then in the turn you Shiru, you can also just slam these Sentinels down. And also by not playing Gord, you're also not incentivized to play Shiru second to last. A lot of the time with Gord, you'd want to play Shiru first and then Gord, so it's not reset. But you don't have that worry here, right? So you can actually Shiru as late as possible, which should in theory give you a little bit more value. Added to that, I mean Sentinels are going to come out slightly later as well. Few things you might want to change, just from looking at what Tailbot was using. He had like a Treant Boar in here, I think. And also, like, he was using double Enchantress, which makes sense because this card is just kind of nuts, right? It's a 7-point card. So maybe I need to consider using this card. But for me, I do love a Dwarven Skirmisher. It's really nice with your Circle of Lives. It's just that little bit extra control. I would honestly love to use 2 of these. But I sort of went through when I was building the deck and I was like, right, what cards do I want? I clicked on 2 of these, 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 2 of these. And these gold cards, these are exactly what I wanted. But then I was like, right, I got to cut something, so I cut a Skirmisher. And it's similar. The reason I cut Gord in the first place was I was sort of, obviously Gord's amazing, but what I really wanted to try and fit in was something like this with double Smuggler, with Dunker, with 2 circles, with Allgod as well. And all these other cards, I looked at them and I was like, okay, I can't cut Shiru, I can't cut Justice or Heatwave or Protector or Nero. What if I cut Gord? And that's why we've come to the conclusion that I have. Let's give it a go. I've got time for a single game. It's going to be the only game I play today. But let's go. Let's give it a go. As you can see, suitably ready with my Temerian Specimen from Broccolon. I'm going to be rocking that Rest in Peace, the Pella tag. It's my favourite tag for a long time, but we're still representing Temeria. But I've got a bit of a reputation of betraying Temeria at the moment, and you know what? It is what it is, mate. I've got no shame. The old Harmony decks used to be my least favourite thing, but a little bit of a Spell and Shiru and all that sort of nonsense is right up my street. Alright, so we're going second, which is good for this deck, because we've got all this carryover. And we're just going to try and maximise carryover. I don't actually have a target for dwarfs, but do I really want to be putting... I mean, maybe we just keep this card, right? My mouse is very bad. Rips. I mean, we can buff the Protector. Obviously, like, Agitator, I want to be buffing a dwarf. So, like, kicking a Skirmisher feels kind of stupid. But I might just a Neuromancy, to be honest, for Justice to thin anyway. I mean, hand's pretty good, right? Maybe we ditch... We could just keep it, right? There's almost too much carryover, if that's even possible. We just won't play this Agitator. I'll Neuromancy for Allgod, for sure. But, like, look how much carryover we've got in this deck. It's actually just flat out outrageous. We want to try and play around Assassination for Dunker up against Enslave 6, which means probably hyper thin. And there's going to be Assassinations floating around, for sure. Almost for sure. So we could start off with a good, honest Allgod. We could start off with, like, a Circle. We could just dump a Smuggler. Obviously, this card's a little bit sad in our hand, but we maybe could have kicked it instead of kicking a... I don't know. I just still want to hit, like, Sentinels. But again, I guess if you're hand buffing a Sentinel, it's not the end of the world. Let's lead in with a good and honest Allgod in the front row to hopefully sort of nullify the damage of this Assassination. And we're going to buff... Surprisingly, I'm going to go for, well, not surprisingly, Sheldon. I'm going to go for a buff on Shiru here. Because we might be tempted to Shiru round 1 to try and win the round. Because Shiru's not normally that good in this matchup. And as you can see, 2 8 strength cards. That is just singing Shiru to me. It's just singing Shiru. So this would obviously not be out of Assassination range just yet. Let's dump a Smuggler. See if we can get a little bit of value off the lad. Even if it gets clapped, you know, it's still got carryover at the end of the day. So who's gonna complain? I'm certainly not. And actually, it looks like it's sticking. Probably gonna get locked. Let's be honest, and it does. I think we could float a Rebuke out here. Let's just get rid of that, because it does mean that this Dunker should be able to stick. And actually, I'm looking at this 7 strength Shiru, and I'm licking my lips, mate. Like, a couple leader charges here. Seems good to me. We'll take a Circle, I guess. I don't think there's really any danger of this harmony actually getting value, so I'm going to greed out a Dunker. Start getting this carryover. So already, we played Allgod for 8 carryover because we buffed Sheldon. There's 2, 4, and you could... Sorry, 4, 6, 8. But you could argue that this Shiru carryover, although we might end up using Shiru this round, is kind of more than just that. So our opponent actually passes. That's interesting. We need 13 points. I've got 3 points of damage on the board. So I need 11 points, right? To take this one. In 2 cards. Which unfortunately does mean I'm probably just going to have to ditch my Forest Protector. Or we could risk a Council. Worst case Council would be showing a Marauder, a Volunteer. Basically, we're just wanting to miss Sentinels, right? But it could show us like a Volunteer and a Sentinel. So I don't want to play this. I think we're just forced into playing Protector, honestly. So I think this will be enough. My maths is rather slow here. Unfortunately, this would not be enough, right? Maybe if I was to hand buff this with the Circle, we could have kept it, right? My maths was way too slow. Never mind. We'll do it like this. Could have done that better. Not quite in the Gwent mindset. To be honest, like, a real weakness of my game is actually I'm so slow at maths, man. Like, jeez. I've got an A level in it. I teach it quite a bit. What I really need to do is start writing stuff down. That helps me usually, right? Like jotting stuff down. So maybe I need to start using that in my Gwent gameplay too. Sod it, mate. We've committed for the long round at this point. A 9-point Smuggler. Obviously not going to be getting us carryover. We would have much rather been, you know, hitting like a round 3 card with carryover. I guess that's maybe like a disadvantage this deck has. Is you don't have loads of like good carryover targets on golds. But normally you want to distribute your carryover across multiple cards anyway, right? Like maybe I could have given this Agitator a little bit of love. Definitely possible. But I'm also worried about this getting enslaved. So I need to be careful of that for sure. For sure. Sure at 7. Still a possibility. We draw Shiru. We draw a Miner. Need to be careful of not bricking our hand here. I'm going to risk it and mulligan Shuru. Okay, we could have bricked the volunteers. There is an argument to say that I could have just kept Shuru, and then I could have like gone council for Fove, like once we thinned out our sentinels, but seems kind of sketchy. 7. My Shuru likes the look of that very much. Definitely worried about this getting pinged down and then enslaved. That would be less than ideal, I would say. Yeah, I would say that would be less than ideal. Let's just start off with a good, honest marauder. We'll probably just dump this later on into the round for that reason, right? I don't want to get riggedy wrecked. We can dump volunteer. Oh, hefty Helg. Ooh. Maybe I was... Cod's going to get an awful lot of points. Obviously, like, I could heat wave. I could just Shuru now and then get through hefty next round with a rebuke. Over rebuke. But maybe we just forget about it, seeing as this is a Shuru at 7. Might just greed it out. But how are we going to really line anything else up if there's... Sod it, mate. Sod it, mate. We've made our bed. If I wanted to heat wave, I should have gone for it already, I think. I've made my bed, so I'm going to lie in it. Uh-oh. Shuru at 4 would have been decent, depending on what this is. Well, this is the decision we've made, innit? So we'll just stick to it. We're just going to rely on a big fat Shuru and a big fat Sheldon. We can either take Justice on an Agitator, or we could take Justice on a Skirm, or Fove into a Rebuke. Probably go for Fove Rebuke, most likely. Also, like with miners, you can obviously buff Shuru. I say obviously. So, like, let's say there was a 9 strength unit that I wanted to Shuru, right? Grab my council, into Shuru, buffing Shuru up. Really do only have time for this one game here as well. So hopefully our opponent is nice and speedy. They've not really played many tactics cards. They've got to have a fistful of tactics at this point. I did not. Curious. Highly curious case. Do this. Bloop. We could also go Heat Wave, right? And then Shuru. Maybe like 4s or something. We could do a few different things, right? Shuru at 7 would just be ideal. Also, the reason I've played it out like this is it means our Smuggler's just going to hit Sheldon and we get extra value on that, right? Obviously, like, if we go super tall, it doesn't really work. But actually, the fact the Miner is stolen is pretty decent. We could look at Shuru at 6 at the moment. Shuru at 6 is looking reasonable. We just have to ping this down a fair bit. And we'll see what our opponent goes to buff up here as well. Enter the fray, Smuggler. I could have gone for a good, honest Fove, but I'm sort of undecided just yet on what to do. But we could have taken out this Smuggler, right? Leo coming in. What a bad man. I'm just going to take the Justice, I think. I'm just going to greed out this Sheldon, seeing as we have last say. Uninteractable points. And obviously, if I had Gord and Sheldon, like going so tall on Sheldon would be really stupid. And there's not actually any good targets for Sheldon to hit at the moment, right? But in comes Stefan. Curious case. Oh boy! And there it is. What he said, mate. Yeah. Exactly. Wah! The 7-strength Cure of Dreams. Wah! I mean, it could have been better, right? But we'll still take it, that's for sure. Definitely not going to complain. Taking out a defender and a Stefan. Oh, thank you, Mr. Miner. Very, very kind of you. Working for us. Must be said, we're still pretty far behind. But let's not forget, we only buffed one of them, unfortunately. We went Sheldon, Shuru, and a Sentinel. We've still got Sentinels to come in. And a big fat Sheldon. Uh-oh. Bribery into Allgod. That can't be ideal, mate. Can't be ideal, lad. all charges probably rather sensibly being used by my opponent. Just in case there's some more tactics cards to follow. I could be doing a better job of tracking them. But we'll just clap that though. Gonna take the... I'm feeling like a little bit sad already that I used that, right? No idea what the last card's going to be. But should have just saved that leader charge. That was a mistake, right? I could have just gone leader. Saved my heat wave. Trees is not doing much. Unfortunately, this is the downside of going super tall Sheldon, right? Like, what am I even hitting here? Well, we get 6 value off it. Wah! And we'll clap Allgod. Wah! Nice. Let's go, baby. We take the dub. We take the victory. Allgod did bits. Sheldon did bits. We didn't miss Gord at all, right? Gord would have not done much there, to be honest. And as you can see, like, I'm doing really well with this deck. Like, I've not actually played that many games this season. Scoia'tael, certainly what I've played the most. But I highly recommended this list. I think it's really fun. And I think it's just super strong. We're playing Scoia'tael right now. Shiro's obviously just super powerful, but kind of difficult to work out exactly how to play him. Devotion's one other route you could go that's potentially more powerful in sheer, you know, volume. But you miss out on cards like Heatwave and Nero. And you wouldn't run Gord either. But in this particular list, I'm just going all in on Big Boy Sheldon and trusting the absolute legend that is Allgod. Absolutely adore this card. Super greedy, super good. If you'd like to see more of this deck, let me know. Thanks for all the comments, guys. I really do appreciate every one of you for watching my videos. All the positivity. Not like a normal person. Yeah, super cool deck, man. I'm definitely going to be playing more of it. And tomorrow, hopefully, I'll have a little bit more time, or maybe in a couple of days, might be more likely to play a few more decks and bring you something completely brand new. Yeah. Sweet, mate. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Trying to do like daily uploads, but it's more likely going to be like 4 or 5 a week. So, yeah. See ya.